Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thanks for being here, wherever you are from around the world today. My name is Clint Grease, and I'll be your host for the next hour. I just want to thank you for being here. My objective for you all today is to give you a preview of a program that I've created to end water fluoridation in 2023 together. So some of you I recognize from years ago from the International Fluoride-Free Teleconference, a wonderful event that we had for 4 years. Do you remember? Every month for 4 years, we gathered for a couple of hours, and we just got together and shared our experience and our inspiration in this massive scheme to fluoridate our water. We all know what we're dealing with, how big of a deal it is, and how important it is, therefore, to be together and to share our experiences so that we're not just alone in our local campaigns all by ourselves. And so, yeah, I'll just share a little bit about myself, because you may have wondered, what happened. I've been kind of quiet, I guess, if you want to put it that way, for the last few years. I have to tell you that I've done a lot of work on campaigns. So I actually changed my whole career to become a campaign consultant right here in San Francisco, California. And in the last few years, I have managed several local campaigns for electoral office, including a local supervisor campaign, a congressional campaign, and then another local supervisor campaign, and a ballot measure. And so I've learned quite a lot. And I'm here to tell you first and foremost that campaigning, it's not like rocket science. You can learn on the job. There are a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of details, everything from communications to fundraising, how to seek allies. And so after all, I was able to learn quite a bit about campaigning, and then together with all of the wonderful advice and inspiration and knowledge that was accumulated over 4 years in the International Fluoride-Free Teleconference, I was able to marry it all together in a wonderful book that just got published this week called Something in the Water, 12 Steps to Ending Fluoridation in Your Town. And it's specifically designed for people who want to begin and run successful campaigns specifically designed to end water fluoridation, because it's not like anything else. If you've been around, fluoridation is always the oddball. It's always the weird one. So the pages of the book include many voices from many people around the world, and that propels the book forward as you read. It's very readable because it has the voices of all you wonderful folks, but it's extremely practical as well. It goes through everything you really need, from communication, fundraising, to how to choose your strategy, really just an enormous wealth of information jammed into 187 pages. The introduction today really is an invitation to be together on a regular basis throughout 2023. And so what I have planned is just an hour to be with you today, to give you kind of an idea of what it is, and to make a choice if you want to get on board. Thanks for taking your time out. We're launching something for a whole year. Today, I'm asking you to look at 2023. It's timely, right at the end of one year, to look ahead to the following year, and really ask yourself, what can I accomplish, or what can I, together with my local team, if I have one already, what can we accomplish locally if we knew that we had routine, regular support from campaigners all around the world, and the combined experience that we have? Ask yourself, what's 2023 going to be for your town? I want to ask you what you see for 2023, what you see for campaigning, specifically campaigning to end fluoridation in your town in 2023, and what you could imagine you could accomplish with this kind of support that we're creating today. First and foremost, we're going to be together every second Saturday for a couple of hours. During those couple of hours, we're first going to review the step of the month. Something in the Water unfolds over 12 steps. So each month we'll take a chapter and we'll just review it like a book study. We'll also have special presenters, folks who have very specific experience in an area of campaigning, for example, doing public comment or gathering signatures, or fundraising. All of the fundamental elements of a campaign will have people who have real firsthand experience to come and share their advice. And then we'll definitely take at least half of the 2-hour period to share it with each other. So to find out what's going on, what have you accomplished in the previous month that you'd like to celebrate, and maybe some challenges that you're facing. Maybe you want to get some feedback from folks. Maybe you're coming up with a name for your campaign, or maybe you are looking at various websites for your campaign and you want to get some feedback or some advice. We'll have quite a bit of cross-pollination, you could call it. So that's the thing that you can count on every month, every second Saturday of the month, that you'll know that we'll be here together to support one another. And then throughout the month, you'll be able to stay connected. These monthly gatherings will be recorded so you can review them. And if for some reason you can't make it that particular Saturday or Sunday down under it, but every second Saturday or Sunday will be recorded and you can catch up and watch the online recording. And then we'll also be able to communicate with each other on Telegram. Hopefully most of you are familiar with Telegram group chat. It's very popular. It's a discussion group. It's a feed that you can post all kinds of things, comments and images, documents. And that way we can share with each other throughout the month how we're doing and follow up with each other and don't lose track. If you meet somebody and you want to stay in touch with them, Telegram would be a good way to do that. We're going to build out as well a repository of materials. So for example, let's say you create a presentation that you give to your council or to some potential ally in your town, and you've developed a PowerPoint presentation. We could put it up online, and that way folks can download it and customize it to their campaign. If you have flyers, for example, even memes that are so popular, every time you go to do something, you have to start from scratch. So we will be sharing campaign materials and content. So the 12 monthly steps from the book, Something in the Water, correspond to the 12 months. And so we'll just go in order. These are the chapters of the book. The first step, we confront the deception. There is a deception that's happening. There's a coordinated effort. And so the book very plainly describes what we've all agreed. It's nothing controversial. It's all in plain view. But to be an effective campaigner, you really have to understand. This might help newcomers to the fluoridation fight. Most of us really underestimated what it was going to take. We really need to confront the totality of the deception so we know what we're getting into and just be honest about it. And then in February is the chapter called Protect Yourself. So this is all everything you need to know about how to reduce your exposure to fluoride in your life. Because until fluoride is eliminated from your water, you need to protect yourself. And so not only do you get to learn the best ways for yourself and your family to reduce fluoride exposure, you also become an expert in a way that is helpful on your campaign, because when you're out there, say, for example, at a farmer's market tabling, people are going to ask, especially those who are interested in, and then maybe that'll extend a conversation that allow them to join your campaign and be more active. So then in March is when we really get to mapping your jurisdiction, and every jurisdiction is different, right? Fluoridation came into existence in your locale based on some political activity, whether it was put on the ballot because the people voted it in, or whether it was the city council who put it on, or maybe it was your state or your province. Right here where I live in San Francisco, it's really astonishing if you think about it, that in 1953, some majority of the population voted to put fluoride in the water, and it's still in the water to this day. So when people find out, well, that we're drinking fluoridated water because 1,000 people voted for it, and here we are now, a city of almost 800,000 people, and we're drinking the water based on the decision of that small number of people back in the 50s. Anyway, your jurisdiction has, particular public policy in place where the utility claims the authority to fluoridate you. And that's where, everyone on your campaign needs to be absolutely clear what the jurisdiction is, to be able to map that accurately. The more accurate your map is, the more successful you'll be in your campaign. When we get to April, the fourth step is to choose your pathway to victory. So given the jurisdictions that you live in and the policy that established fluoridation, then you can craft your particular pathway to ending fluoridation, whether that means a ballot measure using the courts, direct lobbying of your elected officials. It all depends on your locale. That you'll be able to review all the variety of mechanisms and pathways to ending fluoridation in April and select the one that's best for you. In May, we dive into mastering the message. So as you know, messaging is everything. Communication is everything. So we teach you the basics, the fundamentals of communication. Who's your audience? What's your objective with that audience? And what's the best message to achieve that objective? All of these chapters are combine the wisdom and experience from dozens of campaigns from around the world. In June, Turn Passion to Action is that part of your campaign where you ask, okay, who's going to do what when? What assets do we have? What behaviors do we need? And what are the outcomes on a day by day, week by week, month by month basis? What are our actual strategies and our game plan? In July, we addressed the winning the credibility war. Right? We all know that fluoridation, it started as a lie, continues as a lie and a cover-up. We are at a disadvantage in that we don't currently have the same kind of credibility. Things are changing. I know, thankfully, things are changing. That the credibility in the health agencies still surpasses the average fluoride-free fighter. So we have to really do a lot of work to establish our credibility individually and as a campaign. So that's what's addressed there in July. When we get to August, there's a delightful chapter about you and your personal story, because there's one thing that came out of the International Fluoride-Free Teleconference after the 4 years of working with countless advocates. There were these amazing personal stories, and it became clear that one of the greatest assets your campaign will have is your personal story. What was it like before you even knew about fluoridation or its problems? And then what happened that you came to know about it? When did the light go on? What was that period like? And then ultimately, now that you know, what are you doing about it? What is your life like now? So we teach you how to craft your story, and it's something that everyone on your campaign should be able to do. It's really engaging. It shows your authenticity. It does win credibility, and it gives the people that you approach an understanding about why you're so passionate about ending fluoridation in the first place. In September, we delve into publicizing government secrets, which is the whole topic of public records requests. It's all of the Freedom of Information Acts are all here in San Francisco. We have a local Sunshine Ordinance. Our state has records request legislation, and then the United States has a federal Freedom of Information Act. Your country and your area must have something similar. So we go into the strategies around how to get public records, things like the material data sheet for the chemicals that they put in your water, for example, or the emails that are exchanged between your health department and your public utility, for example, to find out things that the average person wouldn't know, and then take that and use that in your campaign to advance the cause. In October, it's all about allies. We have allies, and we have more allies today than ever because the health freedom movement, or even in environmentalism, we have dentists, doctors. There are people out there who are waiting to be contacted by you. And so we discuss what it means and how important it is to have allies. In November, wow, after now 10 months, right? By month 11 in November, people will have done quite a bit of work by then. And anybody who's like a martyr and wants to throw themselves down until they die to end fluoridation, you're going to learn the practical wisdom, the life skills, if you will, to keep going, to not give up. Because that's one thing that, to be successful as a fluoride-free campaigner, is to not to underestimate how long it's going to take, to not just throw yourself at it at all costs, thinking you're going to get it done in one big hefty push. You've got to be able to know when, if you have a ballot measure, for example, and the election is coming up, you do want to expend yourself. You want to throw yourself at it, knowing that the election is going to be over and you'll get to recuperate afterwards. But one of the biggest pieces of advice to any fluoride-free campaigner I can give is how not to give up, how to manage your energy and your team's energy and your expectations such that you'll be able to keep going for the long haul. And in December is visualize success. I don't know if many of you know that before I converted my profession into campaign management, I was a coach, a life coach for years. And one of the most powerful breakthrough things that anyone can do is visualize success, to put the past behind you and look into the future and create it in a powerful way that makes the year ahead look great. We could even do that today if you want. If you want to say what you see about 2023, what it looks like for you in the best image you can create, right? Yes, there's something about being realistic, but you can also give yourself the permission to just wish the best for 2023. Like, all things considered, if money weren't an issue, what kind of campaign can you see for yourself, and what difference would it make to the health and well-being of you and your community when you end water fluoridation? So thanks for letting me run through that. I'm very excited to do something really deep and over a long period of time with you all, to really develop ourselves as campaigners, to give us the best shot at success. I want to ask folks to introduce themselves briefly. Say your name, where you're from, the name of your campaign, if you have it. And then maybe if you're just starting out, say I'm just starting out, or, we've been campaigning for some time now, just to give people a sense of how long you've been in this fight. And if you'd like to say hi, Rachel, first we'll start with you if you don't mind.
Sure, thanks. Thanks for having this. And I'm Rachel McDonald, and I'm from Regina, Saskatchewan in Canada. I'm with the Safe Water Advocates, Fluoride-Free Regina. We have a group on Facebook. There's about 200 of us, and we just spoke to City Council, two of us, Jillian, who's also here. And sadly, 2 days ago, they defeated the motion to prevent putting fluoride. We don't have fluoride in our water right now. We never have, because there have been so many referendums and the people didn't want it. So we're maybe looking at legal action in the future. We don't think we can convince them, but let's see.
Fantastic. Thanks, Rachel.
Thank you.
All right, Gilles.
Oh, for me, it's a very, very long story. I've started the issue in 1970, so I wrote 2 books on the issue. So we have a group that called the Front Commun pour une eau saine that was working in the 1990 to the 2002 or something like that for Quebec City. We have also Au Secours, which have regrouped about 30 organizations. Le Front Commun was also something like 14 organizations, so we have a lot of allies. We have stopped fluoridation in most cities. There's 4 municipalities left. And we just, I could say, I have formed with others, Fluoride-Free Canada. And the last, we just have work on I could say, non-profit organization. We just have registered last Monday for stopping fluoridation around Montreal, Pointe-Claire, and Dorval. And we have Ray Coelho with us too. So he's the very good campaigner. He have gained 4,000 signatures in Pointe-Claire and 1,000 in Dorval. So we're now going for a court action against the town of Montreal, because Montreal have taken the power on the water treatment for Dorval and Pointe-Claire, while Montreal always have been against fluoridation. But when they took power of the water plant, treatment plant, they had to respect the decision of Pointe-Claire and Dorval, so they agreed to continue adding fluoride to the water. So we're going after them. And now we know that they have taken a resolution to continue the fluoridation. So Montreal is in fact accountable for the fluoridation for those 2 cities. So we're going from this, I could say, January with a lawyer to take action against the city of Montreal. So we will have only 2 municipalities left with fluoridation in Quebec, while there was over 90 at the beginning.
Yes.
I'll do it short.
Very good. You're definitely quoted in the book. Your analysis and your evaluation of the situation can definitely serve others as well, because a lot of people not identical situation, but similar enough. And they might be able to learn from you what you guys have determined and what you're up to there.
That's
Kieran,
okay.
from Ireland.
Yeah, from Ireland, yes, from Dublin, Ireland. And I've been with an organization called Fluoride-Free Water, Ireland, for, I'd say, about 12, 15 years. We've become a little bit inactive in the last few years, what with the despondency over the COVID incident, and also the level of which people have been, are prepared to believe the media, are brainwashed by the media. And this is something that we have great difficulty with. On the numerous occasions that we've gone campaigning about trying to warn people about the dangers of fluoride, people say, what are you talking about? It's good for you. And yes. People do not have a scientific bias, towards this. They're not prepared to investigate or look at the thing. They believe it, they see it on the Colgate toothpaste tube, and so it's a difficult battle. And I think, we need to regroup and rethink and re-strategize. So I'm very grateful, Clint, for your efforts in revitalizing this process, hopefully for us. And thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thanks for underscoring this credibility war, this messaging war that we have. And there are a couple of chapters, as I pointed out earlier. Messaging is critical. What is your objective? How do you get through to people? And then, of course, establishing our credibility, because those are the two things that we need to be effective on the ground. All right. Well, thanks for checking in. And now I'd love to hear from Andy.
Okay, I'm Andy Anderson. I'm chairman of the Ozark Mountain Regional Public Water Authority. We supply wholesale water in north central Arkansas. The legislature passed Act 197 of 2011 that said every water system that serves 5,000 people or more must add fluoride to their water. It was not a vote of the people. And our system was in construction at that point in time, so we got it delayed for us. We serve 18 cities, towns, and rural water associations spread across 120 miles of distribution line, or transmission line, rather. All of those 18 entities that we serve did not want fluoride. Not a single one of them serves 5,000 people, and they would not be affected by this law, except for the fact that they elected to get water from our system. Say the system went online, the first customers came online in 2013. We're located in the Ozark Mountains, the Boston Mountains, lots of granite in the ground, naturally occurring fluoride in some locations. One of our systems had so much fluoride in their water that in years past, the health department had required that they put in reverse osmosis to take the fluoride out of the water. And so they banded with us back, like I said, in 2000. This project started in 2006. So from 2006 to 2013 is when we were getting organized and getting funding, and construction started in 2011. But anyway, that system, they had to borrow money to put in a reverse osmosis system to take the fluoride out of their water. And then along comes the health department and says, hey, you got to have fluoride in your water now. So anyway, there's a lot of unhappy people.
Yes.
And all of our systems supported us and they contributed money to our initial lawsuits, which we were unsuccessful. We took it to the Arkansas Supreme Court. But just before we went to the Supreme Court, the lawyer that we had that was totally on our side and against fluoridation, he left the firm, and we got assigned a lawyer that was only in it for the money. And anyway, we went to the Supreme Court, and I found out later that we did not get heard by the complete Supreme Court. It was only a committee of 3 people. We lost there in the Supreme Court.
Mhm.
And the attorney that we had, like I said, he was not on our side really. He advised us that you're wasting your time to appeal it from here. So we didn't, and now I wish we had appealed it to there and we would take it on. The Arkansas Department of Health is issuing us a fine of $500 a week for refusing to fluoridate. And my board is still behind me. I told them at this last meeting that my pick's in the ground. I'm not going anywhere. So we're resisting, but the state says we're the only system left in the state that is refusing to fluoridate.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you for that fight. My goodness, I sure hope you join us, because all of your experiences are going to be very valuable to others along the way. Both the legal aspects, the state mandate aspects, all of this is something that many people are facing. And sounds like fertile ground for a good campaign to take off in 2023. Barbara King.
We last blocked fluoride in Davis in 2013. Clint, I might have met you during that at that restaurant that's not there near Golden Gate Park anymore. And I'm here because one of our new city council members, when I talked to him during the campaign, I said, I have questions about two things near and dear to my heart. One was smoking. Would he be willing to support no smoking in apartments? He said, yeah. I said, okay, how about fluoridating the water? And he paused, looked at me, said, well, you know, I have a background in public health. Said, but I'll read anything you send to me. So I'm keeping an eye on him and just trying to touch base to see what's new. Our approach was to just, when we last blocked it, was to go straight for the medical stuff and stay away from anything that would invite people to call us conspiracy theorists any more than they already were going to. Has anybody here ever been in front of a council and not had somebody say something about that movie with the guy and the bomb? And oh,
Yeah.
you know, or
Yes.
John Birchers, yes, you know, bright blue Davis is just crawling with John Birchers. So the name calling is annoying. And we got Pollock too. Dr. Pollock down at UCSF.
Yes, he still shows up.
Well, he did in what was the last time we did this? I say 2013. He did his usual thing of bringing up, by the way, I have CDs of this stuff if you want to see how this guy operates. He always brings up the young man who, or often does, the young man who died in a Washington, D.C. suburb of a tooth infection. And as an example of what can happen if the water isn't fluoridated. Of course, I went and looked it up, called the water system, and they've been fluoridating since the late 40s or early 50s. But Dr. Pollock forgot to mention that. He stepped within a millimeter. He leaves you all the room in the world to assume that they are fluoridating without saying it. And I would love to make available to people I got the CDs of both meetings. He was at one, to see how he operates.
Yes.
We lost at a water committee meeting. I can't remember the exact name of it because Pollock was there.
Yeah, well, what I'd like to do is a complete expose on his techniques, because there's a Dr. Pollock in every region. It seems that one dentist in Texas, they could get some guy to come up from Austin, wherever. There's always that one dentist. Somehow they're trained in these very, like you said, they're very talented in what they do, and we need to be able to.
Extraordinary. Yeah.
So thanks very much for bringing that up, Barbara. It's definitely a big part of the book too, is dealing with, again, messaging and the credibility war. Yeah, we need to be able to counter their narrative. Well, let's go to Tom next. Hello.
Hi, good afternoon or good evening. I am in Sarasota, Florida, and my program is simple: watch the water. I started a program about 6 months ago, and we've got a company here in Florida that is being a horrific corporate partner. They're killing Floridians, they're killing our streams, they're killing our water. They're a phosphate strip mining company, and they are releasing radiation into our streams because Florida has a specific little sandstone with an amount of uranium in it. So what I started doing, investigating that and looking at water standards, what I have discovered is that our one and only EPA is a vial company. They have regulations of 90 contaminants in our public water systems. And they have developed what is called an MCLG, which is a safe level, that below that level, there hasn't been any known medical issues with it. But 33 of the 90 contaminants that they regulate, they have elevated the safe level as much as 100 times a much safe level. And I am interested in all of the contaminants that are here in Central Florida. I have delegated 6 of them, but fluoride is one of my leading ones. I have done extensive research into fluoride, and the EPA standards as they stand today are 751% above safe levels if you want to consider any type of fluoride as safe, which is not. So my campaign is going after the top of the health department here in the state in Tallahassee. I have prepared myself. I am now a member of Florida General Jural Assembly, and we are going to pull together a common law grand jury and start prosecuting all of these people that are allowing the water contamination. And fluoride, as much as it is dangerous, that's just the tip of the iceberg, because they're using chlorine to kill the microorganisms, and chlorine is reacting to the natural elements that is already contained in our water supply, and it creates what is called a halixidic acid. And halixidic acids are genotoxic.
And move on, because we just for today, we the prospect is for us to continue to be together. You know, we want to look around the room right now. Would you see the possibility? Would you like to have folks with you as you move forward with your campaign in 2023 to hear about the various chemistry in the water and your legal approaches, to get feedback, just to know that people are with you, to give you feedback, to give you encouragement, all those things? That's what we're here today for. And we've got lots of time to learn about the water chemistry. It's essential, in fact, for every fluoride-free activist to really understand some basics about water chemistry. Not everything, because it's pretty complicated, but certainly fluoridation chemicals themselves and how they react to other things that are put in the water or the pipes themselves. So thanks so much for that, Tom. I really appreciate it. Let's see, Colin.
Hi, Clint. Good to talk to you. Yeah, I'm here in Brisbane, Australia, and representing Fluoride-Free Australia Incorporated. We do have a current campaign, or major campaign, in one little water supplier in the state of West Australia. They've been directed to fluoridate by June 2023, and we've developed, well, they have a good little group of activists down there, and we've sent complaints and questions to the water supplier in July. No response at all. We've sent questions to the health department, about 30 of them, no reply in July. So now we are about to, well, the people are about to complain above their heads to ombudsmen. There's water ombudsmen and possibly health ombudsmen, because any complaint sent to a water supplier has to be resolved, and we got no response. And when you do a complaint, you also, down the bottom, you put a remedy. A lot of our questions ended with, why should we pay for the water when you are violating contract law, consumer law, codes of conduct, blah, blah, blah. And because they haven't replied, they seem to be implying that we don't have to pay for the water.
Right.
Anyway, so far it's a good question. Personally, I stopped paying for my water here in Brisbane in February. and I still have water.
Yes, I love that. That's something else that we could all learn from, what this particular strategy of ratepayer protest. Just don't pay your. If everyone in the city didn't pay, then what would happen? That's amazing. It's an amazing campaign opportunity. Thanks very much, Colin, for checking in. Thanks for being here today. Again, I'm asking everyone to look and see about what it would be like to be together on a monthly basis, to hear each other's voices, learn about all of the variety of strategies and different things that are being tried, and give each other feedback and learn from each other. Hello, Regina from
Hi.
Texas.
Yes, I'm in Dallas, Texas, and the name of our group has changed a couple times, but right now it's Dallas for Safer Water. So we have a website. You go there, and if you go under news and activism, you'll see the most recent things we've been doing. The big campaign is to get it on the ballot for May 2023. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to think positive and go forward and fight. I've been fighting for 10 years. Okay. I took off about 9 months, but I'm back with a vigor, and we're going to do it. So, and my email is regina.inversia@gmail.com. Anybody wants to send me something, I'd love it. And I see so many friends out there that I, have worked with before, Karen. So thank you. I'll keep it short.
Thanks, Regina, so much. Yes, you're also quoted in the book, and
I got 3. I ordered 3 books, by the way. They're supposed to come on Monday. Y'all need to order your books.
Thank you. Yes. I'm really proud of it, because we started with over 100 hours of audio recordings, which is a lot of content. And, what I noticed was in the first 3 years, a lot of the topics were a mixture between subject matter education in terms of the science, the history, the basic understanding of water, the politics behind it, how it came to be, how it affects the teeth or the bones, the brain, babies, horses. And then as we got a real solid foundation in terms of understanding the science and history of things, the teleconference definitely began becoming more and more of a campaigners event. Like, okay, now that we know all of this, what are we going to do about it? And so that's why I focused, out of all those 100 hours of testimonials and recordings and wonderful information, I selected out the best that focuses specifically on mounting a local grassroots campaign to end fluoridation. So the voices you hear there are the people who very often were in the thick of things, learning about how to get a ballot measure, how do you address council members, direct lobbying of efforts that you've done so much, Regina, for example. It's really, again, focused on how to get things done. It's not just another expose into how fluoridation, is horrible and how bad it is. And what we all know that already. The question is, what are we going to do about it? All right. Richard's here. Richard Sauerheber from SoCal. How are you?
Yeah, hi. Okay. Yeah, I'm here in San Diego. As you know, I've been against fluoride for 50 years, fluoridation for 50 years. But the last 30 years, I've been actively fighting against fluoridation. Ever since the Hooper Bay poisoning disaster in Alaska that took a person's life, and the Coast Guard poisoned his sister, poisoned almost 300 people there. I got really upset about that event and got more actively involved on that. So this year is the 30-year remembrance of the Hooper Bay poisoning disaster that occurred in '92. The thing I want to point out is that I'm hoping next year, all year, to be available to answer any questions or to help in any way I can, all you guys. But a point that's commonly misunderstood by the public is that they think we're against fluoride. We're not really against the existence of fluoride. Fluoride occurs in nature and like in all the world's oceans at 1 part per million. But what we're against is fluoride in the human bloodstream, because fluoride has no function whatsoever in the human being. And so, the person in Hooper Bay, Alaska was poisoned when his blood reached about 3 or 4 parts per million, because it blocks the heartbeat. At lower levels, like 1 part per million, if chronically you develop chronic heart malfunction, which is a different method, but it still affects the heart. And then at lower levels, like in public drinking water supplies, most people have a blood level of about 0.1 parts per million. And there you have the chronic effects accumulating in bone, weakening bone over your lifetime. And of course, in the kids that have the brain IQ effects, we now know if you drink the water when you're developing. So again, we're against fluoridation with, the treatment of water with synthetic fluorides because that ups your blood level. But we're not really against fluoride. People have that common misunderstanding and they just write us off because they say, well, there's fluoride in the ocean. There's fluoride at 1000 ppm in my toothpaste. Why do I care about 1 ppm in water? So
thank you, Richard. What I heard was you're going to be around to help, with your wisdom and knowledge, and specifically around messaging, right? Because
that's the plan.
How do we get through? How do we break through the illusion, these crazy things that the fluoridationists say, and try to box us in and make us to what we're not. So yeah, fluoridation is not in our bloodstream. That's the point. Thank you very much. So great to have met Ray recently. Actually, we had a nice conversation on the phone. You're doing a lot in terms of the amount of energy. How's it going?
It's going pretty good. I was out collecting signatures this evening, actually. Yeah, it's sad when you get kicked out of some buildings because, sometimes, the president of the building, it's a condo, if he doesn't like fluoridation, he'll tell you to leave. So that's what happened tonight. But I think the success comes from really networking and numbers. And, I'm not in it for the money, obviously. I haven't, I don't think anybody here is in it for the money. But money is a big mover, and it scares the municipality because I think, or the city, because I don't think fluoridation is an issue between, it's not really a federal thing, at least in Canada. It's really by municipality. That's how they set it up. So if you need funds to sue, and part of that comes from fundraising. We're not there yet now, but we set up this not-for-profit this week here, me and Jill, and I suggest everybody do that because it gives you more credibility. I mean, you might meet somebody at the door that would like to donate money, and it pays for flyers, it pays for gas, it pays for essential things, in your campaign. And I think networking is a big thing too. And when I first started in 2020, I was really by myself. I figured I'd go door to door by myself, get 1,000 signatures, and that'd be it. But it wasn't as simple as that. The city saw that, and it's all political. So that's how it is. Even if you're right, it's political. You have to come with the force of the community behind you, and have things that make a group legitimate as well. So I've got a Facebook group here. We don't have a website yet because we're on a budget, but Facebook allows you to also boost your post. So if you have a Facebook group and you want to reach a community, you can always boost it. I haven't done that yet. I'm not sure how Facebook would feel about boosting a post about fluoride in a radius of a city. But I mean, if you check out with your IDs because they want to see your IDs when you do that, I'm not sure how they would feel about that.
Yes, Ray. So yeah, already, as you can all tell, Ray has he's got some experience under his belt, and that's what we need among us. We need people actively trying things in the field, on the ground, and then learning the results and coming back to report to the rest of us how it's going. And it's so wonderful that you and Gilles have paired up. I can't imagine a better couple for Fluoride-Free Canada. In step 4 of the book, Choosing Your Pathway, there's a whole section on comparing what it would be like to do a legal challenge. And as you pointed out, that's primarily a lot of fundraising to pay for the legal fees versus the other avenues. It looks like you guys are taking the legal avenue, and yet you still need to have the people behind you too. So there's outreach that always needs to be done to educate people and to ask them to contribute funds to your campaign. All right, let's go to Jillian.
Yeah, so I'm from Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada. Rachel and I literally just presented to Regina City Council on December 15th to try to block $2.5 million of funding for the infrastructure. It's important to know that Regina has never in its history had fluoride. It has been steamrolled forward. Of course, we've presented a mountain of evidence of health harm, a mountain of evidence of environmental harm. We have lead pipes in the city, so the corrosion factor, increasing the lead in the pipes, ignored all of it. We had one city councilor on our side. He tried to bring a motion forward to block the funding. That was denied. He tried to bring forward a delay for a year for an impact study. That was denied. Then his final attempt was to get a referendum. That was denied. Reginans have voted no on fluoride 4 times in the past. So we have a historical majority opposed to fluoridation. So these are, I would say, criminal actions happening in our city council. So we've been campaigning hard for over a year and a half now. We've thrown everything at it but the kitchen sink. So now really our option, like Ray and Gilles, is legal action. So that's what we're going to be pursuing in the new year.
Thank you, Jillian. Wonderful. About how many people are affected by fluoridation in your area? What's the population?
What's populated city? It would be 200,000. Oh, I will also mention that I'm a fluorine damaged person. So I was injured by a fluoroquinolone antibiotic, which is a fluorine infused pharmaceutical. So I have a somewhat rarefied viewpoint on that. And also because of the damages that were done, I'm also hypersensitive to chemical. And so even trace amounts of artificial fluoride in the water would be detrimental to my health. I've explained this extensively to Regina City Council and also all the vulnerable populations that would be affected: diabetics, people with kidney disorders, people with, babies, fetuses, yada, yada, the elderly, the disabled, again, on deaf ears. So that's where we are right now.
Absolutely. Yes. In the book, Something in the Water, in the chapter about allies, we talk about all those groups you just mentioned and the people who are chemically sensitive. We're all sensitive to it, but you're very sensitive. You're like noticeably and
yeah, well, we're just canaries in the coal mine. So what harms us immediately will be harming other people over a longer timeline. So that's literally just it.
Exactly. Thank you for that voice. That's a very important voice to have among us, to keep it real and to again remind us that we do have allies out there. All right, Bruce and Olive.
I'm Bruce McDonald and my wife Olive. We're in Regina, Saskatchewan, same as Jillian, and we're kind of riding on Rachel McDonald's coattails. We're just sort of in behind it, but we're getting quite a bit more interested in it the more we find out about it and realize how much damage it can do and how undemocratic our city council is, and so something needs to be done. So thanks very much.
Thank you all for putting Regina on the map. I am so happy. A town of that size, anything that you guys do will have worldwide implications. So thank you very much. One of the best, most succinct quotes from Dr. Conant is, fluoridation began with politics and it will end in politics. And most people don't like politics. They run, even the word politics alone is kind of, but we need to become political. We need to be educated and practiced in politics and be effective in that area. That's the name of the game. And that's why I wrote the book, Something in the Water. Say hi to Patsy.
I'm with Fluoride-Free Canada, which was launched September 2021. But I'm basically in the back end as administrative support, since I'm treasurer, webmaster, newsletter person. So this information on campaigning will be very beneficial to me. And I've ordered my book too.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. Yes, we do talk about, how different people play different roles. And you have some people that are extroverted and want to go meet politicians and be out in the field and meeting people. And then there are people for whom that's not interesting at all. And so the back end is critical. You always want to have a solid person at the back end. Thanks very much. And where did you say you are again?
I'm in Peterborough, Ontario.
Peterborough, Ontario. Fantastic. The Canadians are amazing. I don't know what it is about Canadians. You guys really get it. How's it going, Karen?
Hi, it's going okay, Clint. I'm
don't have my own campaign, but I have reached out and I have networked closely with lots of people all over the country and even all over the world. As Regina mentioned, I'm in Massachusetts and I've worked with her in Texas. So I'm kind of a rogue. Right now, and this is what I really want to offer to this group, which I think is important right now, it's timely to say right now, is if your state legislature is getting their agenda ready for the next 2 years, that has to be posted and complete like by mid-January. So right now in Massachusetts, I'm working with my state senator, my representative, to get a couple of bills on the agenda for next year. Now, typically, you know, they have to make them go through the process, but they let them die in committee. But because we have the Tosca trial going on, I expect there is going to be some interesting activity in 2023. Contact your senator, because you can request, constituent request, that they file a bill on your behalf. You don't need them to go along with it. You can just say, this is our constituent request that you file this bill, and they are obligated to file it with the state legislature. I'm asking my senator to file 2, one for me like that, which is to ban fluoridation, which he would never put his name on because it would be politically suicidal. And another one to put warning language on fluoridation things, which is more palatable. And I'm hoping I can get him to sponsor that. So I wanted to offer that to this group as something that has potential, especially for 2023 because of the Tosca trial.
Well, thanks, Karen. Yeah. So Karen's wisdom is captured in the book as well, in terms of messaging. And Karen is a general resource to all of us. I hope you'll join us in 2023 at our monthly gatherings so that people can benefit from your extensive experience. All right, Mike A.
Yes, Mike Angelos from Davenport, Iowa.
Iowa, welcome.
Thank you. Our group is Fluoride-Free Quad Cities, so we're on the Iowa-Illinois border. We've been around about 10 years. We had a mole in the group, so we got derailed. So we're really inactive right now. We did have Paul Connett come and give a lecture. I think that was about 10 years ago. One day he had a lecture. The next day he challenged somebody from the University of Iowa Dental School to come and debate him. And it was all set up, and then he declined. So we had a 2-day lecture. So we're really inactive right now, and we've got a bit of a unique situation because we have a water system that has about 5 different cities on the same water system. So we would have to get 5 different city councils to agree to get rid of water, we think.
Well, yes, one at a time.
Yeah,
Mike, thank you. Thank you. I personally want to, encourage you to get back up on that in the saddle and get back on that horse, knowing that you've got, all of us behind you.
Yes, we plan on doing that.
Yeah, there are these setbacks that we just can't anticipate. And that's why it's so critical in the book that I talk about not giving up and the various things that, could shut us down and how we have to somehow recover from them. And I do hope that you'll join us in 2023 and feel the support and the love from around the world.
One more thing, the thing that we've experienced is all the authorities are pointing at the other person to say we don't have anything to do with fluoride. The DNR points to the city points to the Department of Health in Iowa, and nobody wants to take responsibility for doing it. But the city council did vote fluoride in 1952. So we believe it's the city council that has the authority.
Very good. Yes, check out the law and how you can undo that public policy in your jurisdiction. All right, William.
I'm from Boulder, Colorado, and we don't have a campaign here at all. I just became interested when I came across the whole fluoride thing about a year ago. And so I'm just checking in to see how things are looking.
Welcome. Boulder, Colorado is fluoridated currently, is that right?
Oh, yes.
Boulder is like it's a university town, and it's got a certain demographic, and I think you're going to find other people who have similar. There's UC Davis, Barbara's in Davis. It's a university town, University of California, Davis, and then there are others that'll be like you. So I sure hope you'll join us.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Malia.
Yes, my name is Malia, and I'm also from Regina, from with the other group. And yeah, I basically joined, like I've always been against fluoride in the water. Didn't really think it would ever be an issue in Regina. And just last year, one city councilor kind of just brought it up out of nowhere, got voted through, and we didn't even really have a chance to, campaign before that motion was brought forward. So now we're kind of spending this year trying to undo everything that was done. And unfortunately, the budget was just approved. So we've got our work cut out for us, for sure.
Yes. Thank you. Wow. I am so impressed by Regina. This is the call for Regina today. You guys are really inspiring. Thank you.
You bet.
All right. Emil.
Hey, Clint. How are you guys?
Hello.
Haven't spoken to you guys for a year, and Gilles, always good to hear him on. He's history for us in Prince George. So good to speak with you again. I've been with Fluoride-Free Prince George for about 16 years. I created a website with that, and in 2014, the city of Prince George that started fluoridation in 1953 by a single council lady saying that would be such a great idea, and the dentists really support it. They brought in fluoridation September 1954. They ignored the Municipal Act and legislation, and in 1998, the NDP decided to remove everyone's right in the city of Prince George to vote for or against fluoridation. So we had quite a battle. There was only 14 of us, and I'm the last survivor, basically, just kind of staying vigilant. But I've gathered a lot of information, and including from the province of BC health reports for kindergarten students. So if that helps Regina, I might see if I can dig that report up for 2 years after we entered fluoridation, and they confirmed in the public health reports that our children's teeth had never been healthier ever, including their overall health. So I'll end it there. Good speaking with you. Glad to see this is getting going again. I've kind of been quiet for a while. I've had other things to deal with in my family, but keep going. It's really worth pursuing on fluoridation. Once the bug bites you in the butt, you don't ever stop.
No.
You got to end it. So
Yeah,
thanks.
It's not something you can forget, right? And you should be vigilant. These folks, our opponents, don't quit. They don't quit, and so neither should we. Well, one day I think we're gonna handle this once and for all. The whole thing will be revealed in its entirety. But in the meantime, it's going to take us to act politically and to keep it away or get rid of it.
I hope so. Thanks, Clint. And I'm going to check in on that book that you wrote.
You're welcome. Yeah, I'd love to hear what you think about it. Renee put in the chat to me that she's in Tucson, and the water's got naturally high levels of fluoride. They don't add fluoridation. It's already pretty high. If you live in an area where there's naturally occurring fluoridation in high levels, there's a different angle on the whole question. Very interesting, though. It definitely, even though you may not live in an area with naturally high fluoride, the way people talk about it in those locales is definitely a different kind of conversation than the average city. How about Mari?
Hi, I'm here in Corning, and I've known about fluoride in the water for so long. I'm just glad other people are figuring this out.
Yes. What town did you say you were from?
Corning, California.
Corning, California. Where is that?
It's about 200 miles north of Sacramento.
Wow.
Right on 5.
And they add fluoride to your water?
2 hours. We get our water from the springs, so we don't even deal with that.
Good for you.
We go up to Mendocino and find it at the source. It's really exciting.
Oh, I'm jealous. I'm very jealous. All right, Mari, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
This is the year ahead that's at stake. I want to congratulate you and all of you and celebrate every single one of you for all the things that you have ever done to end fluoridation in your lifetime up until this day. Like all that effort, just let yourself feel the pride in knowing that your efforts were not, even if they didn't come out to the best result, that they were not for naught. That you really are part of the worldwide movement against fluoridation that has been around since the inception of fluoridation. There has always been a movement against it. We might not have heard about it. You know why? We may not have heard about it in the news or on the Discovery Channel or what have you. But I can tell you that there have been dedicated people since the inception of fluoride, and has never ended. The opposition of fluoridation has never ended. And it's because of folks like us. And we need to know that we're not alone. And so I want to congratulate you and all the people who came before us, the people who are no longer even with us, who have come before us and fought against fluoridation. All these efforts matter. There would be a lot more fluoridation in the world if it weren't for us. So I wanted to thank you and acknowledge you and celebrate you and thank you for everything you've ever done. And then what we're here to do today is to turn our attention to the future, which is unwritten. You get to choose. It's your 2023. You get to decide how you want to spend your time. And I know we all have, we have our careers, we have our families, we have our health and fitness, we even have hobbies. Hopefully you have a well-rounded life and you have a lot going on. Not to mention the various challenges that life throws at us, all the various things that come at us. And yet what I'm asking is that, yes, you choose to dedicate a good portion of your life in 2023 to ending water fluoridation in your town. And that means a lot of things. But I have to say that it's a lot different to look into 2023 and say, yeah, we'll see what happens. Who knows? Versus, no, 2023 is going to be the year that I get in there, that I learn what I need to learn, that I develop myself personally to fill in the gaps that are missing in terms of what I know about politics or my ability to communicate and all the various things that might be required of a person. It's a lifestyle choice. Let's just be honest. And I honor any and every one of you who would say, look, 2023 for me, I'll pay attention to fluoridation. I'll definitely, be praying for the end of fluoridation, and I'll be paying attention to the things that show up versus being fully active. I get it. It's a choice to make. And that's why I created this occasion, this event, to come together to provide a choice point, if you will, to put in front of you the idea that, yes, as a lifestyle, you can say to yourself, this is going to be my thing in 2023. So you can count on me. I'm here to tell you that 2023 is my year too in San Francisco. The Safe Water San Francisco campaign is going to be looking at a ballot measure and or a lawsuit as well against the Department of the Environment, our local city department who's responsible for enforcing the precautionary principle. And they aren't doing it. Yeah, 2023 is definitely our year if you should choose. By joining us, that's going to be one of your ways of saying, yes, I'm going to be there all the way through the year, month after month after month. Consistency, I think, who knows that probably the secret to ending fluoridation is just consistency, is to show up and keep showing up. That way you have the opportunity to learn what you need to learn, to try different things, find out what works. If it doesn't work, you try something else and you just keep at it. Go to fluoride-freecampaigns.com and there you can order the book by clicking on the image of the book cover. You can get a download of the first introduction chapter for free just by putting your email. You can also sign up for the Fluoride-Free Campaigns for a simple $20 donation that gives you full access to the International Fluoride-Free Teleconference, which includes all of the 100 hours of testimony from many years of experts on many topics. That's the place that you'll find recordings to our monthlies that are coming up this next year. And you'll get access to that private discussion group on Telegram as well. Go ahead, Barbara, shout out.
Yeah, one piece of history from Davis in the 60s before I got involved in this. They lost once. Davis has never been fluoridated. They lost once in the 60s, turned right around, got a measure on the ballot and defeated it. People slept through that first thing. So the idea of don't give up is very real. They flipped it before it got put in the water. So when you're at your lowest, you push harder.
Amen. Yeah, those are great words. Great words. Well, thanks everyone for being here again. Let's be together in 2023. Let's end fluoridation in 2023. The EPA lawsuit is ongoing. It's going to maybe break through into the news cycle. We're going to expect more conversation about fluoridation. As you hang out together with us, it's just going to be grassroots politicking, direct lobbying, ballot measure, lawsuits. You got to pick the right thing for your jurisdiction. And that's what we're here for, making political change. And the foes are big and they're coordinated. We do know that. But we have God on our side. At least that's the way I look at it.
Amen. Amen.
I don't know how many people with faith are with us today, but I do believe that my life has meaning. Yes. I do believe that I was put here for a reason. I do believe this is not an accident, that we're here together, that the end of fluoridation is our common cause, and that we are powerful together.
Right. That's right. Amen.
And so I look forward to seeing you all again. We can be together and support each other throughout 2023.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas.
All right. Adios. Goodbye.
Bye.